Hi everyone and welcome back to Spring of Series 8 in Forza Horizon 5. Today we'll be doing Power Couple, the seasonal championship that puts us in Mercedes-Benz versus Mercedes AMG in A-Class in road racing. So I'll be driving this AMG C63 Coupe that we used just last week for the treasure hunt. Now, usually my philosophy in approaching seasonal championships is very simple. I'm trying to find you a car that is very easy to drive and guarantees a very easy win over AI. But today I decided to try something a little bit different. So the tune I'm using today is by K1Z Bard, and if you heard anything about K1Z, you know that anyone with a clan tag is very fast. Bard in particular is holder of multiple world records on rivals, so this guy knows a thing or two about making a fast car, but that doesn't mean that car will be particularly easy to drive, and that's exactly the case right now. This is a reasonably strong, reasonably powerful rear-wheel drive car, which means to drive it efficiently you'll need to exercise both throttle control and be able to control your brakes. Now, if you find this car difficult to drive, make sure to turn on traction control and maybe ABS. Look, I just lost the rear completely by just putting too much throttle on it. But seriously, one thing that I always believed is the assists you run are not set in stone. Whatever makes you faster is what you should be driving. So if you are not comfortable driving rear wheels of just powerful cars without traction control, by all means use it. Just disabling assists should not be a target. The target should always be being able to control your car and being faster. If you are playing on the keyboard, then definitely you would want traction control and ABS on. However, if you do want to try a little bit more fun and practice maybe with the rear wheel drive, have the traction control off and definitely run manual. The thing about powerful cars with rear wheel drive is if traction control is not there, they pretty much don't work with automatic. You need to be able to make conscious choice of which gear you want to run at any given time, otherwise the car performance will be very far from optimal. As you can see, I'm messing up quite a bit. As I said, I'm not an expert in rear wheels, so I like to practice it, but I am very far from actually being able to go proper fast. But as you can see, even with that messy driving and sliding in multiple corners, we passed the last AI. I think it was still on the first lap or in the very beginning of the second lap, and it's not like anyone is actually challenging our first position. There's a nice usual train of all AIs right behind me. Well, not right behind me, quite a bit behind me, so the rubber banding is in order and still works, and we are finishing Horizon Mexico circuit in obviously the first place. It's the times on the lap are very far from anything strong, but it's okay. Now we move on to Dunas Blancas sprint, and I guess this one takes us into the sandstorm. Nice. I have to admit, when I launched this championship and saw these trucks on the road, I was a little bit surprised. That's an interesting choice of car for AI, but luckily they didn't cause any trouble on HMC. Sometimes AI in trucks and players in trucks decide that ramming everybody off the road is an easier win strategy than actually racing, but doesn't seem to be particularly the case right now. Now, one of the reasons I chose this car is the livery I'm running right now. I used it in the treasure hunt last week. I keep using it today, and this livery is by PTG Stuzip 85. He's one of the best painters I know, and pretty much every one of you have seen or used his paints at some point in time, because liveries of Stuzy's making have been gifted as part of Forza Horizon gifts and Forza Motorsport 7 gifts to all the players, as far as I know. So you've seen his work before, but if you missed Forza Monthly that ran this week, I highly recommend rewatching it. There's an interview with Stu, and you'll be able to see a lot of his work and hear quite a bit about how he works and how he got where he is. It's a very worthwhile interview to watch, and gives you an insight at some real art talent that exists in Forza painting scene. So Forza has always been not just racing cars around the track. The creative side of it has always been super important for community in general, but for me personal as well, and for many people. And that's why I always try to run some nice livery for you. And yeah, rewatching that Forza Monthly that was shown this week is a recommended activity. Now we are even further ahead, it looks, on this track than we were. Oh, I almost hit that shed. That would be so embarrassing to stop the race in the wall of the house at 90% of completion, but happily avoided it in the last second, finishing first in Dunas Blancas. So we'll proceed to the next race momentarily. And the last race takes us to Bola Ocho circuit, or 8-ball circuit, and it looks like it's also wet conditions, the proper combination. Now Bola Ocho is a very compact circuit, and both in terms of overall track length, but also in terms of the width of the track. You can see there's walls and buildings all around you for most part of the track, so overtaking here best of times is a little bit difficult. Having two trucks ahead of me and driving the powerful rear wheel drive on the wet surface multiplies that issue quite a bit. So as you can see, I'm pushing my way through AI after AI. I'm not particularly ramming them out, but I'm less picky about overtaking than usual, because I just don't want to deal with these two on the narrow part of the track. So I want to pass the second truck, yeah, before the end of first lap. Okay, one AI to go. We are a little bit slower than usual, which is easily explainable by me struggling a tiny bit with the car. As I already mentioned, I'm far from being an expert in driving rear wheel, but also just difficulty overtaking. Now, speaking about driving the rear wheel in wet or in dry overall, if you find yourself spinning when you hit the throttle, you're probably doing it too hard. You're slamming your gas too much. You should dose it up, as I said, exercise some throttle control. Now, if you don't quite understand when is too much, here is a hint. Your controller starts vibrating the triggers when your wheels are about to lose grip. So same is actually true for the brakes with no ABS before they lock up. So feel what triggers do, and if you start feeling vibration, ease off on the throttle in the case of acceleration, or on the brakes if you are braking, and that way you can drive on the limit of the grip or braking power without crossing it. And don't similarly When you ease off, don't throw your triggers off completely. Just a little bit should be enough for you to maintain controllability of the car and achieve the goal that you have, while without compromising and sacrificing too much speed. And with that, Bola Ocho is somehow complete, and I'm somehow in the first, even though the tracks were a little bit too wide for this track. Interesting choice of cars by AI, but hey, I'm not choosing that. Thank you for watching though, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.